Independence Day!
Hello, you fine people out there, and welcome to Garbage Day. We are so happy to welcome a very, very special interview guest, namely none other than Mr. Mark Frazer, aka Frank Washington from Samurai Cop. Mark, welcome to the show.
Woo!
It's great to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you.
It's always wonderful to talk to Samurai Cop fans. How's everybody?
We're good. We're doing fine. Yeah.
We're doing fine. And how about you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there.
Great to hear.
And pretty excited to be honest. Pretty excited.
We really are. We can't lie.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, Mark, maybe we can say that shortly after our request, we saw you posting on social media. I quote, "Samurai Cop has made it to Austria." Were you surprised that people here know about this movie?
Yes and no. This is the first time you've heard from Austria, but when this started, maybe that's when you're going to go into your questions. But when this started, I started hearing from people from Croatia, England, Spain, Switzerland. So it was amazing.
Yeah.
So yes and no.
Yeah.
This is the first time from Austria, though.
Yeah.
We even did a theater showing here a couple of years ago.
You did what?
We had a theater showing in Austria. We showed it at cinema a couple of years ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was pretty cool to see
Yeah,
on
the
big screen.
Wow.
It would be a shame if we didn't know that, because we brought the world one of its greatest action stars, right?
Yeah,
so we have to know this action movie. So great, yeah. As you correctly stated, Samurai Cop is known all over the world, but that took some time, right? So we would be curious, when and how exactly did you learn about the cult following that Samurai Cop has garnered?
Well, it's again, it took, I don't know, maybe close to 15 years or so, maybe more, 20. At this time, in fact, I was in Florida, where I am now. I mentioned to you earlier that my mother had passed. And during this time, she was getting ill. And I'm an only child. And I knew I was going to, be with her as long as I possibly could. So this is a number of years ago. So I started coming down to Florida here and there, and then eventually I decided to come down and stay because I knew that I wouldn't have her as long as I wanted to. So I moved down here. I got rid of all my stuff because I knew I was going to be down here for a long period of time. Got rid of my computers and everything and all that. So what I do just to get out of the house or so, which I still do now, except for the virus, I don't, because the library is closed now.
Yeah.
But I would go to the library, and all of a sudden, one day, I started getting all these emails from all around the world talking about Samurai Cop, just out of the clear blue sky.
Wow.
I had no idea what's, it was all out of my mind. I didn't even think about it anymore. And it's really funny. So I started responding, and then eventually, it happened almost every day. I would hear from people from around the world. I would come home. I would tell my mom. I say, "Mom, remember this movie I did a long time ago?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm starting to hear from people from everywhere about this movie." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I am. I can't believe it."
What a surprise, huh?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's how it started for me.
Well,
Yeah, that's a story. That's a story to tell. Great.
Absolutely is.
Well, I got a lot of them. Let me tell you. Go ahead. I got a lot of them. I got a lot of them.
Oh, we're eager to find out.
It's a crazy
Yeah.
movie. It was crazy. Man.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of
one
fun.
hell of a ride.
We're also eager to know, how did you even get cast for the movie? And what were your initial thoughts like when you were reading the script back then?
Okay. Now, I tell you, every time I answer something, you're going to be shocked and amazed.
Okay,
it's all about Amir Shervan, and that's how he was. He was a very interesting character. God rest his soul. At this time, I'm in LA, relatively new to LA because I started acting in New York. I'm from New York. And so I was relatively new in California, and I was doing some theater at the time, starting to get agents and doing auditions and stuff like that. So and I got a manager. I got a manager, and he was very aggressive, and he wasn't a big manager, but I really liked how hard he worked. In fact, I think he's passed away too. He just started sending my picture out to like everyone. So one day I was at home, and I had a roommate at the time, and I got this call, and the person, I don't think it was Amir, I think it was probably secretary, said, we'd like for you to come down, and we'd like to tell you about this movie we're going to do. And I said, okay, where are you and everything? So they told me, and I told my roommate, I said, man, I said, this movie thing just popped up out of the clear blue sky. So I said, yeah, all right. So I drove down. He lived in a place called Los Feliz, which is kind of far from where I lived. And so, and then I kept going, and then I see like, this is not really like where business buildings are or whatever. It's like homes, just a regular community, And I've never seen anything like this before. In fact, I'm going to Amir's house. It's his house. So I go in there, and then I see Amir. We shake hands, and we just started talking, exchanging pleasantries. How are you? What's happening? So and so and so and so. And basically, we just started talking. And he said, yeah, I'm shooting this movie. And I said, well, what's it about? He says, well, it's an action film. And he said, you're really, I think you're really right for this party. I haven't read anything. I haven't seen the script or nothing. And then he said, this is when he sold me. He said, and you'll be throughout the entire movie. And at that time in my career, I've been at bits parts of movies in New York and stuff like that. A little bit in California, but I've never been in a movie all the way through the movie. So automatically, I said, okay, sign me up. I haven't read the script. There was no script anyway.
Was there even a script by that time?
No, I didn't know anything. All I knew was that I was going to be in the movie throughout the entire movie. And then he said,
you were sold.
Then he said, and I haven't read anything. I haven't read one word. I just finished talking with him, and we were laughing and joking. And he said, okay, you're Frank Washington, and we're starting tomorrow. We're going to start shooting tomorrow.
No way.
That's crazy. Wow.
What? He said, yeah. Be here tomorrow. We're starting to shoot. That's how I have a script. He says, doesn't matter. Just come on down here. I said, okay.
Wow.
Wait. So
do you remember which scene was the very first to be shot?
Oh, definitely, because it's shot out of sequence. This is a scene whereas I'm telling Joe Marshall, Matthew, that the guys are coming after him. The bad guys are coming after him. And so I think, I don't know if I'm at my girlfriend's house or whatever. You never really see her in the first one. And so what happens, because I don't really have the script, and I'm like making up stuff, and I still haven't seen the script yet. And I'm really nervous because I just walked into this situation. I don't know what's going on. I don't have any idea what's going on. So what I did, I used that nervous energy and put it into the character, and I put it into the circumstance of what was going on at the time. I'm saying like, yeah, Joe, they're coming to get you. You got to get out of there. You got to get out wherever he was. So you got to get out of here. You got to get out of here. Get out of there. Get out of there. And that was the first scene that we shot. You know.
Wow. Well, it worked out perfectly. Let me say that.
It definitely did.
And you did some other ad-libs, right?
Oh yeah, we didn't do a lot. Yeah, we didn't do a lot. Let me tell you, that was another part of Amir's personality, and also I guess it became one of the charms of the movie because his native language isn't English. He's from Iran.
Yeah.
And he wrote it, and so that's why it sounds really strange to, especially Americans, because we don't really talk like that.
Not exactly, yeah.
So it came across, and he wanted us, because I called him like a lovable tyrant. You know, he wanted what he wanted, but he had a pleasing personality, but he was a tyrant and a dictator type. He said, "Okay, say what I say. Don't do it. Don't just say what I wrote there. Say what I wrote there." So we said, okay. So we did.
That's crazy.
That's how it started.
Well, that really leads into our next question, I guess, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, after telling us a little bit about Amir, we found practically nothing on the internet about Amir Shervan, the director. I mean, can you tell us like a little bit about him? Like, what was he like? Except like a very fierce director. Did you have any funny memories about him at all? Like maybe like some funny story about him that you can share with us?
Well, let me see. He like I said, his personality, he was charming.
Yeah.
Right? Lovable, but he wanted what he wanted and how he wanted it. You know. His moods would change. Also, as you know, cult film, it's all about money. They don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I noticed when we first started shooting, you know, every day the cast or people around the crew, it would be diminishing, get smaller and smaller.
Okay.
He's running out of money.
Oh, okay. So was there like a problem with catering also, for example? Like, did you have enough?
Yes. We started out with a big spread.
Okay.
Then eventually, we like hot dogs and.
Oh, right.
And,
Yeah. So did you have the feeling that it was kind of like it was pretty amateur filmmaking, right, going on, right? So it was not like.
Definitely.
All right.
Yeah, I think one of your questions was, do we have a feel for? We didn't. You know, we said this is going to be like crap, man, because I was used to TV because I've done a lot of television. I did a lot of soaps in New York and stuff like that, some in California.
Yeah.
And very, very, very precise. And this is just like, okay, shoot it, let's go.
Yeah.
And then you can see that it was just really odd. Everything I tell you, the first day I went down, it was odd. It was odd throughout the entire shoot.
Yeah.
And it's bring the questions. Then it triggered my memory. But there were a lot of things that went on that was just so out of the ordinary. You just wouldn't believe it. But he was determined. He was going to get this movie done. He definitely said, "I'm going to."
For example, like this famous scene where there's this car crash and suddenly the car just inflames in fire and the guy's like literally on fire and you're putting out like you two are basically putting out the fire on the guy. So that was kind of like, what was that really like so spontaneous? That was just like a quick thing?
And I would not. I tell you, we were all young, hungry actors at that time.
Yeah.
I would never do anything like that again.
Wow, I can imagine.
I can't imagine that something like that would be done today, right?
It was right. The fire was right in front of our faces.
And the guy, but the guy, like the stunt guy, he didn't seem to care. Like he was just like looking kind of in the camera, like looking behind his shoulder if you guys are putting out the fire, right? It was,
He was a strange guy.
yeah,
He was an absolutely strange guy.
yeah,
Obviously, we only saw him once, which was like a lot of characters would show up one day, you'd never see them again.
okay,
That day was a very odd day because this was going on.
uh-huh,
We had the script at this time, but it changed all the time. So basically,
uh-huh.
it didn't make any difference. But this guy, he walked around. He looked like he was spaced out.
Oh my
He was
God,
just an odd type of
okay,
guy. And so then we set up a scene, and then they put all this like sticky stuff all over him or something. I'm just watching this,
uh-huh, uh-huh.
It's all over him, and then I see that then they light him up, and I'm saying this is
Oh,
not right.
Jesus
I look up
Christ.
in the heavens, and I'm like almost like talking to God. I said, God, something's wrong with this. This doesn't seem right.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Holy shit.
And
So then,
was that the
huh?
point where you said, okay, maybe I should quit? Was there like maybe a point in this whole shoot where you said to yourself, okay, maybe this is going too far and I should get out of this?
No, never, not once. No,
Really? Wow.
because and this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because eventually, towards the end, until he's running out of money, we didn't even get paid sometimes at the end.
Oh.
But see how he sold us, because he knew we were both young new actors in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "You need tape on yourself. You need film, and that's how you get more jobs." And that's what he kept saying to us over and over and over again.
Wow.
And so that's why we didn't give up. And after a while, it became like a big goof, but we're just going to have fun.
Okay, yeah.
And myself and Matt, we became pretty close because Matt lived right around the corner from me.
Mm-hmm.
We found that out, and I was from New York. I had a car, but I wasn't a great driver. He had a great car, so like he would pick me up, and we drive to the sets wherever they were, all over the place, all over LA. And so we kind of built up a rapport that way, which I think eventually translated into on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we would just talk all the time, and we became like pretty good buddies, and so that's how that developed.
Great, yeah. I think
Well, that's great that you mentioned it. That's exactly what we wanted to talk about, because another thing we pointed out in our review is that you and your co-star Matthew Karedas, you work so well as a team. So I guess that was based on a real life chemistry you had, right?
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. We knew like we're in this together. So let's have fun. Let's do it. So yeah, we did it.
What about the other cast members? What can you tell us about the overall atmosphere on set? Did they have fun too?
Yeah, I think everybody had fun. It was a pretty loose set. Robert Sadar, remember Robert Sadar?
Of course.
Yeah, sure.
He's no longer with us. Also, he was
exactly.
a really great actor, and
yeah.
he was a great joke teller. Tell a lot of jokes because sometimes we'd be out. Like I said, I was relatively new to Los Angeles, so I didn't know where we were. Sometimes we'd be out in the sticks somewhere. We'd be out there all day in the sun. It's terrible, Definitely no trailers and nothing like that. No big Hollywood stuff. We were just out there, and so we just and then they had a lot of different people coming up every day. They were funny, so we just cracked jokes all day long, and we shoot the movie. So that's how it happened.
Well, that's great to hear because that's exactly how we pictured it. Thank you for confirming that.
Yeah, right on.
And had you already sensed that you were working on something special back then, especially regarding the unique approach took by Amir Shervan?
Definitely not.
Uh,
No way. No way. We thought it's going to be terrible. It looked like it's going to be terrible. We had no idea. In fact, what happened after it was over with, a lot of people took it off their resumes to do with this.
Oh, yeah.
So you certainly never would have expected this kind of cult following.
No, definitely not. No way. You know, and it's really funny. Then when it started to hit like it hit, people put it back on their resume.
Oh, yeah.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. And also, and what happened also is that I get to the part where with the wig, with Matt's wig, that's a story in itself.
Oh yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Because what had happened, we shot the movie. We thought it was over. I thought it was over, so we just went back to our normal lives. And then, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months later or something, I get a call from Matt, and he says, "Mark, we got to finish up the movie." I said, "I thought it was all over already." He said, No, we got to do a few more shoots. So I said, "Okay." I said, "All right, why not?" So he picked me up. So then, at this time, he had cut off all his hair because he's going out for other jobs and stuff. So then, Amir had to get him a wig. You know, because we found out that we almost had to shoot the whole movie all over again because he had messed up on it.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, lucky you didn't cut your hair, right?
The only difference that I don't really normally have a mustache, so I shaved off my mustache. So sometimes I have to put on like a fake mustache so they draw stuff around my lip. You know,
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's interesting. We didn't notice that, did we?
Yeah.
We did.
There's a lot of stuff, man, that went on. There's a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
This is another story that I thought was very interesting. In fact, you remember when we're chasing the bad guys, and then we drive up to this big house, and we have to climb up. Well, I go under the fence, okay, and Matt goes over, and
and he asked you, "Why did you come under?"
Yeah, right. I said because I'm an undercover cop, which is a funny line, and that was an actual line that Amir had written. He wrote that.
Oh, really? Wow!
Yeah,
Wow, that's great that you cleared that up because I've heard repeatedly that was an ad lib from you. It wasn't.
No.
I always thought it was improvised.
No, not that part. So, what was improvised was we're on this property. We think that this is a friend of Amir's. And Amir knew no one at that house. He just knew that the front of it looked like it would be good in a movie. So we snuck on the property. We didn't know though. I didn't know. I don't think Matt knew.
Oh, God.
So that was illegal trespassing.
Yeah. Also, there was times that, you have to have a permit to shoot in LA. He didn't have a permit. We'd be running from the cops sometimes. You have to hide the camera.
No way. The cops running from the cops. Man, that's ironic.
Hey, we're cops, and we're running from the cops.
Holy shit.
That's great.
Oh, wow.
Well, the film definitely has like this guerrilla style filmmaking in it. Certainly, I thought so, because a lot of the shots are like very like they seem very like on the spot, and
Right.
yeah, but I think
there wasn't too many retakes, because he didn't have enough money. So
we heard that.
Okay,
Yeah,
shoot it. So we shot it.
Shoot it and go. Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe that, in fact, I know like Amir did like 5 films, I think, in America. And this one, was the best of all.
And that was his last one too, right?
I think so, yeah, because he died. And there's another thing too that I noticed, because he's under a lot of pressure because, just trying to get all this together, and he wanted all this control. And sometimes I would see him during the day holding his stomach. I could see that he was under a lot of pressure, because it was a lot to take on to do a
Yeah.
film, and then to have all
Have you
produce,
seen
direct.
Have
everything.
you seen his other movies he did in the States?
I saw bits and pieces of them, and
Okay.
you can tell that it's similar to Samurai Cop. You know, a similar storyline, similar dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah, but nothing comes close in the entertainment value. I can tell because I watched some of them,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
Samurai Cop is the greatest, really,
Yeah,
by far.
I just think that it was blessed by the movie gods because it just all came together
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because it looked like it was
Oh,
going
yeah.
to be just a complete mess.
yeah. Let's believe that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is, some people would say, the most
So-
famous scene you're featured in this film is the nurse scene in the hospital, and you make some very funny reactions in this scene, and we would like to know, like, what was it like to shoot these reactions from you, because they seem kind of like they were filmed in another space. Is it true, or can you like maybe tell us?
That's what it seems like. But because I think my memory serves me correctly, because with making the faces, I was
Mhm.
responding to what they were saying.
So you were
So
actually
I remember.
you were actually
Yeah, I
respond
was off to the side.
okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
because I responded. And guess what?
So it wasn't even the script.
No, those faces weren't in the script. No, that was I came up with that myself.
Oh, word.
I was just responding to what they were saying. And guess what? What happens from there is that these faces that I made, they're all around the world. In fact, and now there's people that I'm getting ripped off. I'm not. They're
Oh,
they're
yeah.
on T-shirts and mugs and
yeah.
alarm clocks. And,
It's basically
I can tell. Actually, the very first thing I've seen about this film, when going through a list of films you should have
Mhm.
seen, and there was a small section about Samurai Cop, and it was just a still of your face, and I told myself I have to watch that. I was sold.
And,
So-
yeah, it's like and I'm getting ripped off because I don't get any residuals off it, and that's my likeness. I own my likeness. I don't own Samurai
Well, that's
Cop.
too bad. Yeah,
yeah.
that's too bad.
I found out the companies, but I'm down here in Florida now,
Who?
so I can't really pursue them.
Uh-huh.
I think
Okay.
they're in Australia somewhere, something like that.
Wow.
But,
Is there a
yeah,
chance to take legal action there?
No, I'm gonna have to, because I'm going back to California. Then I'm going to pursue it because my
Yeah.
face is on at least 30 different items.
Mhm.
Wow.
And I know they're selling them because
So the money
I go
goes to the movie production company, right? Or to who gets
no,
who
it's
gets the
going to the
royalties?
people. No, we don't. It's going to the guys who put up the money and make these shirts.
All
But
right.
they need my permission,
Yeah, of
and
course.
no one's asked me
Sure.
to do anything.
Mhm.
So that's where that's at.
Okay. Well, besides Samurai Cop, you were an actor before, and you continued acting. And we're also eager to know about your later career and about your later life. And you were, if I am not mistaken, you had a part in one of my favorite childhood TV shows, The New Adventures of Superman. I
Yeah.
truly loved that. Can you tell us something about that, maybe?
Yeah, Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, before that, I'll tell you a little bit about my background before I even became an actor.
Sure. Please do.
Yeah, I was an executive at CBS Television. I have a master's. Yeah, I have a master's degree from Columbia University in New York, and I was an executive for about 6 or 7 years at CBS, and I made a lot of money, of course. But I just got disenchanted with the job, and it wasn't creative enough, and I just basically didn't want to stay in the corporate world anymore. I didn't know what I was going to do. at the time, I had a girlfriend. She became my wife. She's my ex-wife now, but she's from Sweden. So I went over to Sweden and visited her. I traveled around, went to Italy. I've traveled all over Scandinavia, some other places. And because I had a lot of money, and so I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to remain at CBS. So when I got back to New York, I would just hang out, and I would go to clubs. And I would see this guy at these clubs, and then eventually I'd see him on television. As a black guy, he's always on television in these commercials. So I said, man, maybe I would like to do that. Because I said, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I said, well, because I played basketball and I like performing, because that sports are close to acting. And so I said, well, let me look into that. So eventually I met this guy at some clubs, and I started talking to him, and he explained to me a little bit about what acting was for him. He was just doing a lot of commercials. He wasn't really a serious actor, but he was doing commercials. So I said, well, let me start there. So I went to take acting classes for commercials. Then eventually I started taking serious acting classes, and I found myself with a very, very good teacher, a great teacher, in fact. His name is Win Handman. I don't know if he's alive or not, but he's taught everybody. He's taught Burt Reynolds, Denzel Washington.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I can go on, everybody.
Crazy, wow. Uh-huh.
I don't know. Right now, I can't even think of every actor probably he's taught that came through New York. And I got in his class. And then that's when I really started to take it very seriously, and started doing theater in New York and doing commercials. In fact, I was doing commercials before I even knew what I was doing. I had an agent already. I'd show up, and next thing you know, I'm on TV. So then I just really fell in love with it, and then I started getting up the nerve to say, well, let me see if I can really act. So I started auditioning for theater, and I got theater parts in New York and everything. And then I got on a soap, and I got a chance to work with Morgan Freeman on a soap. It's no longer called Another World. In fact, I hear from fans in Canada, they still run it in Canada because it's not on the air anymore. And I hear from fans in Canada about it. But Morgan Freeman was on that soap, and this is before he became really, really, really big. And my first scene was with him.
Wow!
Yeah.
What a start!
Yeah, what a way to start. I was scared to death, man. He was an idol of mine, and I didn't even know he was on it because I never watched soap operas, so I didn't know. And I'm there early in the studio there. And I see this guy walking closer to me, and I'm focusing. I say, man, I said, that looks like Morgan Freeman. I said, that is Morgan Freeman.
Crazy.
Like my heart starts pumping, boom, boom, boom. And then he says, he said, hey, Mark, I heard you got the part. And then he says, okay, let's start rehearsing. And I'm looking at him, my mouth is wide open, man. I'm just like, I can't believe this. I'm acting with Morgan Freeman. And so he told me it was time for me to read my line, and nothing came out. So he said, boy, look at the script. Look at it. So that's how we got started, and eventually, man, I relaxed and everything, and it was cool. I had a number of scenes with him. Yeah, so that's how things started. And then eventually, I made my way out to California.